Hey everyone, Charlie from Vidyard here again. Today we are joined by Rosalind Horne from Community Support Connections. Rosalind, good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about Community Support Connections and your role at the organization?
Sure. We're a local charitable organization helping seniors and people with different abilities to stay in their own homes. So our services are offered in Cambridge, Kitchener, North Dumfries, and Waterloo. We have a rather modest staff, but we work with over 700 volunteers in the community and are able to help over 7,600 clients in Waterloo region. So our volunteers contribute an enormous amount of hours. If we had to pay them a living wage, it would actually be over $1 million value. But the value that they're providing our clients and the difference that it is for a volunteer to come in and providing services makes a huge difference and lets our clients know they haven't been forgotten about. So we kind of focus our services in 4 areas to maximize impact. They fall under nutrition, physical health, social well-being, and help at home, which includes things like homemaking or snow removal. So my role there, I work with 3 different teams. So I work with the fundraising team, the communications team, and our volunteer team.
That's fantastic. How has your role in the way that your organization operates changed during this global pandemic?
Probably in every way possible.
Right.
We have our own Meals on Wheels kitchen where we provide hundreds of meals that volunteers deliver every weekday over the lunch hour. So it's been really important to us to keep that kitchen very isolated and safe. So our staff are still going in. We're not currently having volunteers in the kitchen just to try and minimize the number of people coming into contact with the building as a whole. And then the majority of our staff are working from home. So we've been doing a lot of video conferencing and trying to rejig how we all interact with each other. It's a really collaborative organization, especially my teams. We spend a lot of time interacting with each other throughout the day. So there's been times when I've been sitting on a video call with someone else for 2 hours and we're just on mute and can go back and forth and unmute ourselves to say like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm working on a grant, or different things like that. In terms of our actual operations, some of our services were deemed essential by the province, like Meals on Wheels and transportation for our clients to get to medical appointments. Because so many of our volunteers are seniors themselves, especially for Meals on Wheels where they're delivering at lunchtime, we had a very small number of volunteers still interested and able in getting out to deliver to our clients because of COVID. And there were set up presents to them themselves. So we had about 10 or 15 volunteers and need to fill about 150 routes every week. So we put a massive call out to the community and had actually over 100 volunteer applications in just a couple of weeks, which is more than we would get for about 4 months. So the community response has been overwhelmingly positive for sure.
That's fantastic. Now you mentioned video calls. What are some other ways that you guys have been using video to make up for that lack of face-to-face human connection during this pandemic?
Well, a lot of our working with volunteers is based on relationships. Our staff have strong relationships with the volunteers, and the volunteers have really developed relationships with our clients. And those touch points are so critical for us. The volunteers are continuously bringing back critical information for our staff to know if a client's demeanor has changed or something else is kind of indicating they might need more help or their needs have changed. Volunteers are always bringing that back to us. So we have to make sure that we keep the lines of communication open with volunteers. So I've actually been using Vidyard in a couple of ways. One is just that personal connection. So our volunteer manager is sending out video emails just to say, hey, we're thinking of you, checking in. We try and send a couple of useful resources along in our very frequent emails, which again, just like those touch points to keep that face and that relationship going. But even more so for us, a huge lifesaver was to use it for training. So we had to completely redo how we provide Meals on Wheels. So typically, our volunteers would go to one of 5 pickup locations in the community, get their Meals on Wheels food, and deliver it to people in that area. A lot of our clients are slow to get to the door or are bedridden. So when you're delivering Meals on Wheels, you might be going into about half the houses that you're delivering to, because it's easier or faster than knocking and waiting for the client to come to the door. So in time, we're not going into client houses. We had to make alternate arrangements for people who are bedridden, that we could make sure we were just bringing the meal to the door, using hand sanitizer, taking it out of the thermal bag, which people think we're skip the dishes now. It has the same bag basically, but we're not. We've been around much longer. And then they sanitize their hands, put the meal in a plastic bag and hang it on the door before stepping back 2 meters to make sure the client actually comes in and gets their food. So they're still able to have a small social interaction with the client, but just a little bit farther distance. But trying to change habits of volunteers that have been delivering for 5, 10, 15, 20 years through a memo was not going to work. So Vidyard to, again, have that friendly little face in the corner of the screen that they know and trust, to have one of our volunteer team members created a new, basically, slideshow training and distribute it through video because we can't do the training in person. So we were able to do that for our existing volunteers that maybe had to change their ways a little bit. And then also for the 100 plus people we had coming in the door, we had, I think, 3 different departments. We had our exercise team, because our exercise classes for seniors are obviously not happening right now. So they were helping doing phone and video interviews with new volunteers. Another team was doing reference checks. And then the volunteer team was making sure everybody else coming in the door had the proper training and other screening requirements. So if we had to do that onboarding and orientation,
Right,
as 100 new people, it was the death of us at a time when we were already basically trying to reinvent everything we do and how we do it. So it was a huge lifesaver for sure.
that's fantastic. What is the best way for people to get involved with your organization in terms of volunteering?
Sure. So right now we're trying to evaluate what our needs are. We're looking department to department. So we still, if people are interested in doing Meals on Wheels, they can connect with us. We do have a volunteer application that is kind of on pause right now on our website, but if they go to the volunteer page, they can find out how to get involved. We just are looking to reopen that in the next couple of weeks because a lot of our other services are on hold right now. But people, if they're interested, like a business or a group of friends wants to even do Adopt a Route, where we have some companies like MTE or Ted Scarf, a local realtor. His office has actually been doing Adopt a Route for almost 30 years.
Wow.
So a person takes their turn every week and comes out to deliver meals. But MTE is great. Sometimes they have 2 people actually come, and they look at it like a team building activity. So they might have somebody from marketing and somebody from engineering. It gives them something to talk about back in the office. And it's just a really cool cross-departmental experience if you're looking
I love
for
that
too.
That's a great idea. I will place all the links just below the video for people who want to get involved. Rosalind, thank you so much for joining me today. And I wanted to thank you for the work that you're doing in our community and that your organization is doing. As somebody who's born and raised in this community, I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.